is Tom McCullen. I graduated in '90. I spent the last 12 years of coach's career pretty much every single day with them. 4 years as a player and then 8 years as a coach with them. I'm still not quite processed all of this. It's hard for me, so I hope I don't break up with this a little bit. But I'll try to tell some funny stories. I have a few stories. Because if you spend 12 years with a guy like that, you know, I've heard so many stories. But the first day, so some of my teammates are here, classmates. The very first day, coach is out there, and I didn't know much about what the soccer experience was going to be like. But there was we're tapping around on the balls, these soccer balls, and I was like literally like, oh man, where am I at? Like, what's going on here? You know, he was like, and I heard some references to, you know, how he would do the military cadence. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in the wrong place. But you know, as time progressed, you learn about coach, and that's really not really about the sport itself. It's about life. It's about psychology. It's about everything else. Fast forward to like our senior year, we played up in Lawrence in the conference championship, and we happened to win it. It was his birthday, so we actually had the women's soccer team. They drove up to Lawrence as well, and we surprised coach with a couple of like birthday cakes out there. And I remember him saying, not bad for a septuagenarian, you know, because he had won conference on his 7th birthday. And like, you know, obviously most people are like, what's a septuagenarian? You know, everybody at Grinnell obviously knew what that was. In the coaching, like the very first coaching trip we made, so this is like kind of a funny story. You might have heard this a little bit, Emily, but I know some of the guys have heard this. We played up at St. Thomas. We were supposed to just go up there and then come back on the same day. And in those days, all the days we were low budget. And it poured rain, so we were just soaking wet. And I didn't bring any extra clothes, and neither did coach. And we weren't expecting to stay overnight, so we had to end up staying overnight. And we get in the room, coach and I are sharing basically like a twin bed. But so yeah, it was low budget, and he goes, and all he has are these soaking wet clothes, and I actually borrowed some extra clothes from some of the other players on the team. Well, he comes out of the shower and he's just naked, you know, and then he just climbs in the bed with me. That was my first coaching experience. So then, and it was funny, and I never really told him about it, but you know, in hotels you have multiple. They have like the sheet layer, and then they have the comforter layer, and whatever. For all of our remaining trips for the next 8 years that I coached with them, I always like wouldn't ever go under the lowest layer. And he always made fun of me. He's like, I don't understand you, Mac. Like, why you're not normal. And I never told him why. You know, now he knows. I have to talk about visualization. To me, that was the thing that I took the most, you know, into my life after Grinnell, was visualization. And I remember him telling a story about it. And you know, Mr. Ryan over there, maybe some of the guys back in the 60s and 70s were the people he was talking about. But he said that when he was coaching football, he would find that the team would play terrible on Saturday. They would just be like nervous and anxious and play terrible on Saturday. But then on Tuesday, the following week, they would like have a flawless like scrimmage. And he never could understand that. He's like, why do we play so well on Tuesday and we play so bad on game day? So then that's when he started this whole 72-hour theory. Some of these tennis guys mentioned it earlier. the 72-hour theory was basically, he tried to flip that. He said, let's flip it so that we do all of like the anxious part of it 72 hours beforehand. So like everything that normally you do on game day in traditional in sports is you like really strategize the morning of, you're doing like last minute preparation and really focusing on the game. His idea was that that was really causing everybody to be so anxious that it affected their performance. So what he did was 72 hours beforehand, almost do like game day preparation, visualization, go through everything you can about the game, and then basically forget about the game up until you play it. And then hopefully you get into a zone by the time the game rolled around. Now in psychology, Barr was actually my advisor back at the University of Iowa when I was working in a sports psychology program. Everybody's different. And I think in psychology, not everything works for everybody. But for me, I took that to heart. So Coach also said, by the way, it doesn't work just in sports, but it works in anything. So like with tests. I remember at Grinnell, like studying, I would cram 2 or 3 days before, and then I wouldn't hardly study at all up to the test. And I would usually do pretty well in the test. And everybody else would scram me not before a test, and may or may not have done it. But they couldn't understand me like not studying. But really, I was studying. I was following the 72-hour theory. Sorry, I'm a little choked up. But in work, I make all kinds of presentations and whatnot. I always prepare 72 hours ahead of time. If I follow that theory ever since. I wish we had I even talked with Barr about. I wanted, if I was a dedicated enough academician, which I clearly am not. but if somebody should have really vetted out this whole 72-hour theory stuff and done a study about it, because for me personally, it's worked like wonders ever since. I won't really go into like I said, I spent 12 years with Coach. I saw all these people that he met, it was like we call him kind of Forrest Gump, he met all of these amazing people and he would just randomly drop in these stories. I sat there for 12 years. I just told this to Emily yesterday. I don't think I ever heard him say the same story twice. Not to me. Now I've heard him tell the same story, Omaha Beach stories to other groups many times, but I was there every single day with him. We had these captain's practices, our captain's meetings before the practices, so anybody who was ever a captain on his team sat through maybe an hour or 2 hours before each practice. Sometimes we'd be late for practice because Coach kept talking. But we never talked about soccer, or very rarely did we talk about soccer. It was life, it was philosophy, it was history, it was all these different things. My biggest regret is that we weren't taking for him all those stories. I know the kid recorded a lot. I wish we had, because it was the perfect avenue. Coach and I, we both thought we were going to live forever, so we didn't think about maybe we should be recording all this. We were eating our popcorn and whatever, and he was telling stories, and the captain who sat with him heard a whole lot of stories. So, like I said, I'm still processing this all. I love Emily. I love Coach. I was glad to be there to help him through the last 12 years. That's a quarter of his coaching career I was there. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm going to miss him. But this is everybody here, you're all here because of Coach, I think, in a lot of ways. So anyway, thank you.